welcome back everyone to an episode of Timberborn with me, Dr. Munchkin. So last time we were kind of expanding out, and what we were trying to do primarily is we were trying to finish this Earth Repopulator, right? We almost have 1,500 treated planks. We increased treated plank production over here, and we're kind of concerned about pine resin. Yeah, to that effort, we kind of built all these trees over here, trying to increase that. They're almost done. And so hopefully we can have enough. That is what I'm concerned about. I am thinking about moving into here, just to add more trees. We could add a stair down or something. Lots of little things. But the primary goal today is to try to get to this online. And we have a dirt and other things available as well. But as we get into it, as always, if you guys like the content, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And if you can't tell, this is a voiceover. So, there was an update to the NVIDIA driver, and unfortunately it disabled my microphone. And that stinks. So we're going to be doing a voiceover for the final episode of Season 2. I know it's not ideal, but it's something that just occurred. But we do have a 6-day drought. I am looking over here. Like I said, we will try to probably increase overall pine resin production. I was thinking maybe we build a two-way station because we do have the materials that is not going to affect us because we don't need gears, metal blocks, nor planks. But, I mean, would that really work with the tappers nearby and everything else? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to remove these trees right here. So let me move that like so, and then they'll get to work on that. We're going to add our path like this, and here is where I'm actually going to goof up, because I'm going to put that down there, and then I'm going to go, oh, let's plant more pine trees. Let's check your range. Well, that needs to be built first, which you'll see in a hot sec. My error. And then that is also going to be fixed later to come. But once we do that, I'm like, oh, look, I have all this range. We can get all the way over to here. That's amazing. Look at all these trees that I can add. And then I had this bright idea. I was like, I could build a second tapper shack. Well, that's fantastic and all, but I don't have a place to put it right now. So what I'm going to end up doing is we're going to just, well, we're not going to destroy it yet because that beaver would be trapped. So what we need to do is build more stairs right here and go ahead and connect that up like that, and then high prioritize that. So once that's built, we can destroy that and put the new tapper shack in, the whole 9 yards. But this is just going to be effectively a new region to try to up our pine resin production. We do have tons of things going on, so we're just going to place that there, like that, connect that in, and then that will be golden. And we'll just go ahead and fill those spots in. Perfect. All right. I'm just checking to see how things are going, and if I click, what am I going to do next? This is the question. Pine resin, 80s, that's not bad. I'm okay with 80s. We just keep checking, because this is the main thing that we need right now. But all right, they do that, so now I can come in, I can destroy you, check. I thought he was trapped. He is not trapped, which is fantastic. This also adds a new job for us as well. I don't have plank storage, and so I'm checking here, and it's like, because I do not have any treated planks at all, basically, I'm going to go ahead and convert this one over to normal planks. But we're just going to watch this grow for a little bit. And on a complete side note, if you followed this channel, we like to play dinosaur games, and we played the literal ton of Jurassic World Evolution 2. We have over 100 videos, well over 100 hours of gameplay. I even made an Ultimate Park with every single dinosaur in the game in the singular park. But they have announced it is coming this October, Jurassic World Evolution 3, which they introduce a new mechanic, baby dinosaurs, which will be something brand new that we need to consider, both from a habitat perspective, but also just new dinosaurs, male and female. They can have babies, and there's even baby Mosasaurus and Quetzalcoatl and everything. But we're going to get into that. So if you follow this channel, it's similar to this game as it is a park simulator or resource management game that we need to do. I love these type of games. That's why I love Timberborn so much, and why we love Jurassic World Evolution as well. But we will be getting into that this October. Anyways, we are checking on this. We're making decent progress every couple minutes. We're getting 100 or so. We are getting up a little bit. I'm wondering about the well-being, just because the Earth Repopulator is not doing anything. And yes, we do need more goodies for stuff. Alright, moving over here, we're checking out all the entertainment that we have. We have the Motivatorium and the wind tunnel. We're trying to make those beavers all nice and happy. And we are looking over here. How are we doing? Pine resin? Yeah, 90. It gets really, really close. In fact, we're going to dip into effectively out of resources at some point. And so I'm looking over here and I'm going, okay, you can't reach that. That's weird. And so then I had this crazy idea. I'm like, well, let's prioritize kohlrabies, but that's not going to reach it in general. And I'm like, well, how do I get over there? I think it's because I built all that storage and stuff. I kind of blocked it off, which is a problem. Let's see, I'm just wondering, how do I get over here? I mean, we solved the issue with the contamination with the blockages, and then I'm going, we could utilize this pond that we made, because this pond, right, it's going to be filled up by the water dispensary, but we can make ourselves a little bit more efficient here. And so if I just destroy that, and then we come into pathing, and I believe it's triples, we can go ahead and just fill this in. Or we're going to start with this, and then I'm going to have a bright idea in a hot sec to do more. So I'm like, oh, we can do that, and then these guys can reach it. But we have so many of these resources, it's kind of up the wazoo, perfectly fine. At least for these. Like planks, you can see 1.6 thousand. That's more than enough. We can actually reach over there. They are going to clean that up as well. But because we have so many plants, and I do have 33 or 34 now, beavers without jobs, we're going to come over here, and we're going to build here, as well as here. And then what we are going to want, destroy you, come over to food. I want to build a second farmhouse here, and I'm not realizing, it'll come to me in a second, but I can't build it there because the path is present, not because the platform is not built. But we just need to wait for a new day. We're on triple speed, so happy dappy. New day comes, we will have plenty of beavers to build all that. We're almost up to 1,600, which is good. So things are going strong there, and here we go. The beaver army will come, and they are going to build all of this very, very quickly. And so this is where I'm going, oh, I can realize what I've done. Not trees, not crops. There we go. Destroy that. And then this is where I'm going to goof up immediately. So come here, plop that down, and realize that's not what we want to do. So we're going to go ahead and destroy that. Come back over, flip the direction for the singular purpose of adding that. So now that's more complete, and then we'll go ahead and complete the pathing. And that's a little bit better utilization of the space. And then those farmers will help with all the kohlrabi that we are picking as well. And we are going to be filling up on that, which is nice. Something about the iron teeth is we did have a lot of food crises going on throughout this particular season. I wasn't understanding how much of it would be required. Very interesting of a group, I suppose. The folk tales are a little bit easier with that regard. Here I realize, oh, because we built the stairs in the tapper shack, we've actually artificially increased the distance that our beavers will have to go, so we're going to remove these just so it kind of cleans it up a little bit. But we're going to move on. We are getting more sap. We're up to 133, which it is a conversion of effectively 1-to-1 for a treated pine. Wood is okay for now. Checking my other resources, we're kind of okay. We are making the eggplant rations and the corn rations, but the algae rations not so much, and I'm looking for algae, there it is. We have 1.2. We are completely maxed on algae, and so I'm going to go ahead and expand out just so we get all types of rations available. So next to our lovely coffee here, we are going to get the food factory. Plop you in there, like so. And then we will build, not stairs, path. And I'm wondering how to connect this up as well, because we need to get power in here. So, power, we're going to get a little bit of this. Click, click, click. It was a little too high, but in reality, I could have, not worried about that. But, we're resource management, because it is just slightly less, but we could have built it anyways, but that's not what I actually needed. So I realize here I could just connect that there. And then we're going to come up here, we're going to remove those, yes. And then I'm wondering, how do I get to the other side, right? So we're going to build a double platform there, and I'm going to try to prioritize things so that we can build everything as needed. So prioritize those two. Don't know if we can reach that, and then that's going to be our algae rations. So once that is connected, we will have power up the wazoo. So they built that, check. They're working hard to get all that done. Well, that will conclude all of our food. We're already up to 19,000 food, so we are nowhere near any sort of danger for that. And we're going to go ahead and delete that for now, just because they built it and they blocked themselves out. But yeah, we need this connected. It'll be done shortly. So, anywho. Pine resin did come up. We're up to 160, which is really solid. And if we look here, we're at 1650. So we almost have enough for the actual repopulator itself. I don't need all this because we're in a drought. We've lost power. Or our supplemental power from the bad water up there. So we're just going to go ahead and turn off some things. This will help a little bit with production of this Repopulating, so it goes a little bit faster. And here we finally connect all that up. So we just need to go to power and add that singular shaft there and high prioritize that. And once that's connected, then that food factory will have power and start producing as it needs to. Just going through another night here. Just turning all their smelters off because we don't need them on as well. Just trying to maximize power. We do have another day worth of drought. That's not the end of the world. Everything is still green, beautiful, and full of life. Checking storage, perfectly fine on storage. A little bit of a distance for them to go to actually store that from the algae factory, but that's fine. they can deal with that. And then there's all our algae, so it's a weird kind of setup the way we did it, but we have this entire industrial area over here, which I really, really like how we segmented this one out. Let's see, what else we got going on? I was thinking about maybe adding some more engines or things over there, or even more, we could do gravity batteries. But then I realized, like, gravity batteries are good, but you really need so much more height for gravity batteries to work. And then in an instant like this, where we have a 6-stage route, it's really not going to function. You really need the height. So I'm just looking around and be like, okay, if we had something like over here and had a sheer drop into the well that we made, that would work. Or even over here could be beneficial as well. But gravity batteries, I haven't really found a strong use for them such that they last long enough. If I had a really tall mountain, had like maybe 10 of them, perhaps we could provide sufficient power to the system such that the normal operating system would have sufficient power to recharge it. Here I'm just going through, I realized I had over 20,000 research points, and so we're just unlocking everything. This is all the bots. We're not using bots this particular playthrough. I used them on the first one. Very, very fun. Very demanding as well, but once you get them going, they just work through the night. So you can really increase your overall production to ungodly levels. And here's where I'm actually going to run out of science, because I keep going, and then it's like 3,000. I don't have enough for that. We can do that one. At least do the 3x3 metal platform, but you can see they cost 90 metals to build. We're not doing anything crazy like that right now. We do have a bunch of metals, 1.4 thousand. So we could have built like a crazy scaffolding system and further increased overall production. In fact, with the scaffolding and the earth excavator, we have terrain blocks now unlocked, and those could be used to build a garden in the air, which would be really, really cool, especially if we had an impermeable floor to actually have a water well like we do up here. But the drought has ended, which is good, so water will return, meaning that power will come back up top there, and with the engines I should be good. I probably will start turning things back on shortly. We're really not hurting for planks at all, and hovering at 149, 150-ish resources. Just looking around here, just wondering which way it's going to launch. We'll get to that when we get to it. But you can see here we're like a drop down from 1 block of water from 6 days. So that reservoir that we built there, really, really good. Not too concerned about it. And we have plenty of food up there. I was wondering about the mangroves running out of water, because we might have to lower those floodgates, which we will, to surge through there, because also those pines we need to keep growing for pine sap. I'm going to turn that off because we don't need that engine on just yet with the power returned. The power is coming back to the system. And these just need treated planks. And they do require 50 power, which is odd to me. I guess there's a bubbler or something. But here we are meeting, we're exceeding demand a little bit, which is good. And once the power comes back through the main channel there, those large water wheels will start pumping and returning rather. We should be solid to turn everything back on to just increase overall production. I don't know at this point what I needed once the Earth repopulator is complete to actually launch it, because that is a little bit of a difference, right? Got pine seeds, just checking, see how we're doing on the sap. Some of those are almost done, which is good. Over here, we are going to lower that down just because we ran out of water. So we're going to revitalize the system so that water flow through. You just see everything turning green. We primarily just need to get to the pine that's at the end of the route there. And there's our depth gauge, showing good depth. But once we reach all the way down here, you can see the pines turn green, and we'll put that up to 2.9. Because once the pines are green, they will continue to grow and produce sap. Alright, what else do we got? Power is going to start returning, yeah, 1.5 thousand, so we're going to start turning the plank production back on. We have more than enough for all that. We are producing enough power as of right now, so we're just going to start turning everything back on. Even if they're not working, because the smelters are pretty much maxed out. We're not using metals for anything crazy. Alright, Earth Repopulator is coming along, 85%, almost there. Checking out the resources. Gears are actually coming up quite a bit. And mushrooms are hurting a little bit, but we have tons of fermented mushrooms. So we actually have everything. All the food is just good. Aesthetics, awe, fun. I see that swimming pools are a little low. And so we can actually build a swimming pool over here. And I was thinking, okay, we can put it's a little bit far, but it could work. Just to try to increase our beaver happiness evermore. So I'm thinking about putting it there, so I go here, because if I had built it one lower, it's going to fill up. So here we're doing this staired approach. There's going to be a deep end and a shallow end to this pool. So I go over here, find the pool over a little bit to the right. There it is. And we rotate, and it works. Check. So we'll have them build that. That'll be perfectly fine. I'll have beavers swim throughout there. There's the bell. We have a new day. I do like the bell. I do like a lot of the little things that they added in how the iron teeth and the folktales are very distinct versions, but I do want to test out those zip lines. I do like, though, the two ways there you can see is the ground. Wondering about trying to get another campfire in, looking just to improve the overall well-being of beavers, but it looks like I really don't have a good place to put it. I mean, I could dynamite things out a little bit and place it somewhere, but we've kind of maximized our space a little bit, and I can't put this on top of anything, unfortunately. So we're gonna lose out on that campfire. If I had done the metal stuff and built up, we could have potentially built some up there. But we're looking over here. We are almost done. We're less than 100 away from actually finishing construction on that. And then what's going to happen is, because the treated planks will be full, we'll start to get the mud baths and everything online as well, just because the Earth Repopulator has taken all priority. We'll actually make that even super high priority. The others were lower, so it was effectively the same. But here you can see here they have 30 treated planks inside the mine. We are kind of maxed out on metal storage though, as well as scrap, so that shouldn't really hurt us. And these guys look 200% worker speed, movement, health, life expectancy rather. They have tons of the bonuses. He's not getting the labor monument, which I find odd. And then he didn't get a detailer, a scratcher, those type of things. And he didn't go to motivatarium. He needs to be motivated. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come over here. It is a lot of logs. It is 200 logs. I can see that I have one down there. But I'm going to go ahead and build a second one. I'm wondering where to put it. I could have put it on top of that building, but then I would have to build a stair network in order to get to it. So what we're going to do, we have a little space right here. I kind of want to put it there. But that's going to require just a triple. So then we will go ahead and build it there, and I do need to remove that lamppost temporarily, or lantern, just so they can get to it. And we'll go ahead and just super high prioritize that. Oh, no, we won't. But it's going to be built very, very quickly. We do have the logs, not concerned about that. And then that will cover as they go to the Earth Repopulator. that's almost done too. Don't even need to do that. But look, we're 5 away. So this is where I was like, oh, it's going to be done. It's going to be done. But we're really at 88%. So what does that all mean? Well, now it's quote-unquote complete, 88%. They still need to finish building it. I forgot about this. Now, we do have tons of beavers on this project. You can see they work crazy, crazy fast. And so it'll be another day or so in order for us to actually finish that out. Over here, we're going to high prioritize that. And hopefully they pick that up. But here we go. It's coming along. 89. But once again, we need to go through another night. And I'm just wondering, that pine resin getting to 87. It's kind of okay. We do have this coming online. You can see, barely see those trees. It's a little hard to see when they actually have resin. All the food over there is good now, especially with 2 farmers. Over here, they should start building that. This is what I'm wondering, is like, what project do we want next? And we have powered all that stuff. Build, my beaver, build. Alright, so we're just going to set that to normal priority. And I'm wondering why the high priority. I'm wondering why the treated planks aren't coming, basically, because I'm like, why is it being built? Shouldn't it be being built? They already framed it out. But here, we're already up to 92%. They are working very, very hard. I do love the stages of things, how we see the framing coming together, and the wonders are great because they're even more multi-tier of a build. Alright. We're almost done. What else are we looking for? Pine resin is hovering in the 90s, which is good. 95%. Again, it will be one more day most likely before we finish that. That path is all... I'm like checking, why aren't you getting treated planks? These guys are actually getting treated planks. I don't know if you saw there was 8 there. And so they're just going to barely not finish completion of that. We have 95 treated planks, which is crazy, right? So in that one day, we produced nearly 100. And I'm looking at our wood because we are down into below 200 there, but we do have some wood coming in shortly, and that will, yeah, like this over here is only going to need a few more days for our massive oak farm, and then these over here as well. And then water is, of course, always fine because we have that giant reservoir over there. But as we approach a new day, this should finish out. And I'm wondering if it's, when it's complete, if the well-being of our beavers will actually skyrocket. Spoiler, it won't. We actually need to launch this thing for that to occur, which I thought was crazy. We're just looking here, 98. It's a coming, it's a coming. 99. We just want to watch it be complete. And ta-da! It is actually done. So I was like going, it's launching that way? And then I'm like going, oh my gosh, it needs 500 treated planks. The berries, not a problem. I think we have like tons, like 1,200 berries or something. And then I look here, I'm like, oh, it's absorbing all those treated planks. Oh no, what have we done? But that's already built, so I was like, oh, whatever, we'll just leave it be. They'll start getting into there as well, so we need to stall a little bit more in order to get a launch to occur, because that's the ultimate goal, right? Once you get the wonder built, you get the completion of it and actually launch it. So we had the recultivator for the folktales, which is really cool, and it releases all those lanterns. We need paper for that, if I do recall correctly. But for this one, we need treated planks and berries. So I'm checking the pine resin. So we've dropped considerably. If you remember, we were up to like 150, and now we're down to 63. So we're burning through at quite an accelerated rate. Here I'm wondering why those are... Oh no, I was chopping them down, which wasn't good. I mean, it was a little bit of wood flux, but yeah. And then there's a tree there that I'm missing. We're looking here, I only need 29 more there, and then the rest will just go into the earth repopulator. But 500, that is a lot of... That's 500 pine resin, right? But now we're going to start getting dirt. And the dirt will power those mud baths, and so we should get a little bit of a boost for our beavers. Just unlocking a little bit more of the items in the science shop. There's the terrain block that I was mentioning earlier that we could build on top of a metal structure and get like a farm in the air or even something else in the air. And in fact, with the tubes, oh, even zip lines. Maybe we do that in Season 3. If we build up and build that platform, we can just create a zipline platform up there or something else for our beavers to actually get up there rather than just taking stairs. That could be fun. Maybe we do that. I'm thinking Season 3, maybe a medium-sized map. I think this is it's one of the smaller maps. We'll check out the maps when we start Season 3, but I don't want a super large map like we did for the first one. Very fun, mind you, but I'm not necessarily feeling that for this season. Here we're just looking at... Alright, that's actually done. Check, so that migrates the power over. And so now we should get everything into that earth repopulator. Again, need 500 of that. So I start looking at here. Someone is getting into the mud bath, but the earth repopulator is not giving bonuses, even though it's built. So it does require us to launch. Somebody is injured. Alright, yeah, we're dropping dangerously low. We're in the 30s. These pines are finally starting to grow up, though, so they will need another 7 days in order to start to produce resin. Oh, it takes so long. We do have quite a bit of forest, though, for the pine production. And the thing is we're just bleeding too many. We have too many of the treated planks online. In fact, we have, I believe, I should turn them off after the end of, or the conclusion of this, and I turn 2 off, and then the pine resin starts to really climb back up. So we could have gotten a nice stockpile for that. Had I known what we needed for the earth repopulator, I probably would have planned out a little better, have more pine forest to start with, like 1,200 to begin with. So we would have been very, very well off for the pine resin for treated plank production. Anyways, I'm just checking here because like I only get 2. 7 days gives me 2. So every 7 days I can have 2 treated planks, which is crazy. It's not a lot. The other thing I like about the folktales is they have maple, and I like the maple syrup. Make those maple pastries. But here, I'm just checking here, we're up to 75 already, so they're producing quite well. It's just, we're just teetering there. We're burning too much. Part of the thing that will help solve that is just that extra little pine forest that we built down in kind of that little ravine. That will help significantly, but it is not available yet. We should have built that at the start when we built the forest up there on the upper level. But 2 tappers over here also will help migrate that. Here I'm looking and seeing my kohlrabis are nearly maxed, which is crazy, because if you remember in the beginning, we were eating through those like there was nobody's business. So finally some trees are starting to come in. So wood production is, our wood stockpile is going up. Something that I like about the folktales though, is they have the super storage. So I believe we only have like 1,600 or something total storage, and 1 super storage can hold 1,800 logs. Now, when we played as the folktales, we did run into some wood supply issues. Just keep checking that periodically. just want it to be done. I want to see what this launch is and actually complete the wonder of the Iron Teeth. I also really like this view at night when you see all the tube network working, all the lights of all the beavers traveling across everything. I think it's really cool. But we can see here that we actually have inside of those industry buildings, they do have a small storage of treated planks available. And then that should be coming up on the next day or so. We should have more of that pine resin available to help offset, just because we are getting dangerously low. We're down to 4 injuries as well, which is good. We have plenty of medical beds for that. There's always just injuries occurring within our beaver population. But yeah, we're down to 4. We're literally almost out. So like I said earlier, we are going to run dry, but we have 150. I need 350 more pine resin in order to complete this giant wonder. But finally, all those pines are coming up in that lower region. So within 7 days, we will have even more available. We're just checking things, see what's coming on. So those very, very close to help with that. Yeah, but we're definitely too early. And yeah, that mine has 30 of them. I contemplate actually destroying the mine since we don't really need it and all that scrap metal and everything else. But yeah, we're doing okay. Don't necessarily want to destroy things. They have jobs. I have only 14 beavers, by the way. They do have jobs. So out of my 277 beavers with 3 children, only 14 have jobs. Looking to see if I can't unlock that last one, how big it is, because that would be so interesting to build. And like I could just build scaffolding and build that up, and then just build. Once you have like one set up, then I could delete all the like stairs or whatnot, and then we just build a tube way up there and connect that in, and then huzzah. Just looking at the other houses as well. We don't need housing, but this row housing is kind of interesting. How tight you can actually get it in there. Worried more about that pine resin though. Can't remember when it starts to disappear. We start teetering on, do we have pine resin? Do we not have pine resin? And people are using that swimming pool, even though it is a ways away. We can see if there was a beaver just swimming there, and they do have a deep end, which I find enjoyable. Okay. New day, new adventures. How are we doing? Right, nothing yet. We're gonna watch these change. There we go, boom, it changed. You could barely see that it did change, but that's starting to give us more pine resin. As you can see there, it was teetering, so it disappeared, which means we don't have any in storage. And we do need about 250 more just to get this launch to go. And those down there, they need some. Those were just completed. So we do have a few that are coming up. There's some 90s in there, some 60s, so we should be okay. Again, we're strutting the line here. And we have more beaver industries. We're up to 10. But here we go. There's 100 in there. I'm actually contemplating whether or not I just destroy that to get the 100 treated planks out to just further accelerate this. And here we have beavers using the mud bath. And look, it's up to 66. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. 240% work speed. And they have the little tree there, which they also get a bonus for. But yeah, that earth repopulator definitely needs to come online in order to finish that out. Alright, up to over 300 now, so just 200 remaining as we go into another night. We can see oh, they formed a full circle. Did you see that? It was a full circle of beavers. They were all flying there. I actually, because I have so much science, I could remove, and I don't do it, but I could have. I could have removed those number crunchers and actually built more of the wind tunnels to have even more beavers use them. Yeah, perfectly fine on food. Again, the teetering on that pine resin is something crazy. I'm actually going, you know what? Oh, we got a bad tide approaching. That is not a concern, and the reason that's not a concern is although we have the diverter valve over there, this will keep flowing, so we'll have this power from up here as well as over here. That is the nice thing about utilizing bad tide water for production, and it doesn't poison our well. But 320 and counting. More mud bath, fun and adventure. Plenty of time for that. We have, I think, I don't even 428 dirt. I think we've actually maxed out our dirt. Other than the terrain blocks and the mud pits, I don't know what would consume them. Here we're still producing gears. We're up to 1.1 thousand gears, which is great. We don't really have an industrial need for them at all as of right now, but it's good to know that we have them. We could basically build anything that we wanted. Here we are checking to see, because look, the pine resin is gone. I'm like going, oh no, no. We need to finish this. You can see the treated planks are fluctuating as well, and luckily they're using that tube network to build this, but we do need 140 something more. All right, now we're starting to get a little bit of pine resin, and finally a building lacks materials. We do not have enough pine resin for this one to function. Although it has power and everything else, it's run out of juice. And because we go into the night, that kind of warning goes away because they're not working. But we need them to transport some pine resin. Here we can start to see a few of them, or at least one coming up, which means the others should follow shortly behind because they're all kind of planted at the same time. That should help build a few more. That one, yeah, we were goofing up with the chopping those trees down. There used to be a tree there and we didn't have the distance to go remove it. Food is up to 20,000 as well. Checking the canola seeds, we have plenty of canola seeds. If you remember, we were starting to drop a little bit. That's why we expanded out over yonder to get even more canola. And here we're starting to look. Some are popping up, which is good. So we're starting to get more canola, or sorry, not canola, so pine resin online to feed our woodworking shop for the treated planks. And we are almost to the 400. Which is really making me wonder if I should delete this. And then I was also thinking, if you dig that down to bedrock, right up top there, you could build a gravity battery and just go all the way down. That would be so much depth. And that is a use of the earth excavator that I really like to try at some point. We would just need to find an area where we can benefit from that. We're just checking even more of the pine trees, see if anything's coming up. Again, we just keep teetering on, it goes away, it comes back. Ugh. We're getting very close. But if we can survive this, I think we're going to get to a launch fairly soon. I think it's just one more day and then we can launch it. Because again, we're producing a little over 100 a day, which is really solid, and our power network is more than sufficient to power all of that. So let's check here. Yep, I only need 70. Let's see how things go. A few of those are almost, yep, they're in the 90s, so they should be done the next day in order to support building more. And yeah, we're at 442. Again, I want to delete that, but I'm like, we'll leave it be. All right, they can run 6 dirt. They're maxed out at dirt 2. So they're not really even doing any work. I could destroy it and be perfectly fine to support my mud baths for the remainder of the episode. But I don't. Why? Because the beavers had jobs. They need to be working, and we're up to 18 beavers that are free to work. Only have 7 remaining beds. Again, we're fine on housing. We kind of reached an equilibrium. Right here, we're just looking at things coming online. Just need that pine resin. It is fluctuating, which means we are getting some in. This is getting built. Yeah, no, the launch of this thing, we're almost there. I think by the end of this day, we will basically be done with all that, and then we will be able to launch it and see what it looks like, because I am very curious myself. Got that tube network going. This is so cool, especially the zigzag there. That's cool. Just looking around here, wondering what's going on, and oh, we're so close. We have 14 remaining. We will do this before that bad tide gets here. Again, bad tides do not hurt us at all. We have built up enough protection from them with some of the new features that have been provided as part of this update. But here we go. We are going to hit that 500, and then we are ready to launch. So, let's go ahead and see this thing go. Oh, it zoomed us all the way up. Oh, it completely unfolds and we start launching beavers out. Oh, and we just want to zoom in and we want to look at this. But you can see here also, it really started making the well-being of our beavers skyrocket. But there he is. He's going. He's launching. I'm like, oh, I want a better view of this. Look at that. That's cool. And so we just play it a little bit more. It's just going to keep going. It's really, really cool. And there we go. All right, and as the evening sets, we have the completion. So, days passed, 513, 811 beavers born, tons of water consumed, tons of tails painted, trees cut down, teeth broken, and we use 690 dynamite, which absolutely insane. And no bots whatsoever. So we got up to a 66 well-being, which is insane. 67. It keeps going. As more beavers marvel at the wonder that we did. But we can actually start pausing some of these as well, which will, I think I just paused one more. Yeah, we just paused those. And so the pine resin should start to recover a little bit because of that, because we're not going to be burning through pine resin every 3 hours. And it does. And here's the bad tide is starting once again. But this season has been a lot of fun. We started from very humble beginnings, and we did finally get the Repopulator, but we had a bunch of food crises. I think there was 2 major food crises problems. With the dam, we had an issue where we did not set the sluice correctly, and bad water kept infiltrating into the system, which wasn't good. And so it has been a wonder. But over here, once again, we had that industrial area that I really, really enjoyed, this whole network. And then we had all our living quarters over here, and over here was all of the agriculture that we did in order to support for wood production, for food, and we even had all of our storage there, and even up here we had another agriculture area to just support everything. So this has been a wonderful season. There's our water reservoir that we're not going to run out of water. We started to use the new features as well. They added tunnels, which is what made this diverter valve possible to just go off the back end. And so I love the diverter valves just to make sure that bad water doesn't infiltrate our city. It is a wonderful new addition for us. But yeah, that is going to do it for this season of Timberborn. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, but I will catch you guys at the next one. So Dr. Munchkin, signing out.